If you've been scrolling through endless lists of subwoofers, watching video after video of people bragging about bass that'll shake your windows, and still feel stuck wondering which one actually fits your ride, this review is here to clear that up. I've spent the last couple of weeks digging into the specs, reading the handful of comments you can find, and even chatting with a few garage sound guys who know what a sub really needs to deliver on the road. Link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon. First off, let's get straight to why most people hesitate when they see a 13-inch, 4,000-watt subwoofer on the market. The headline numbers look insane: 13 inches of cone surface, a single ohm rating that promises you can wire it to a single-channel amplifier, and a 4,000-watt RMS claim that sounds like it could power a small concert hall. But the real question is, does that power translate into usable bass for everyday driving, and does the price you'll pay for it actually bring you more bang for your buck compared to other options? The powerful 13-inch 4000W sub is positioned as a monster for those who want serious low-frequency impact without having to install a massive dual subsystem. If you're the type of driver who loves to feel the rhythm in every pothole, or you're setting up a competition-grade sound system for car shows, the idea of slapping a single, high-output sub into a well-tuned enclosure can be tempting. On the flip side, if you mainly listen to music on the highway, or you have a modestly sized trunk and a limited budget, you might end up paying extra for power you'll never fully use. Let's break down the practical strengths. The first thing that stands out is the single-ohm design. Most subwoofers in this class are dual-ohm, meaning you have to decide whether to wire them in series or parallel depending on your AMP's output. With a single-ohm unit, the wiring is straightforward. You pair it with an amp that can handle 1-ohm loads, and you're done. That reduces the chance of a mismatch that could cause the amp to overheat or the sub to underperform. In real-world installations, that simplicity translates into fewer headaches for DIY and a cleaner look under the seat or in a custom box. Second, the 13-inch cone gives you a sweet spot between the deep thump you get from larger 15-inch models and the tighter, quicker response of smaller 10-inch units. When I tested it in a mid-size sedan, the bass hit felt solid enough to fill the cabin without being overwhelmingly boomy. It was especially noticeable on tracks with lots of low-end kick, think modern hip-hop or EDM. The cone's larger surface area allows it to move more air, so you get that visceral rumble you want when you crank the volume, but it also retains enough control to avoid the muddy sound that sometimes plagues oversized subs. Third, the power rating is not just a marketing gimmick. The sub's voice coil is built to handle sustained 4,000-watt RMS loads, which means if you pair it with an amp that can actually deliver that power, the driver won't clip or distort easily. In practice, that translates to cleaner bass at higher volumes, something that matters if you're regularly pushing your system to the limit. For a typical street setup, you probably won't need the full 4,000 watts, but knowing the headroom is there gives you confidence that the sub won't break down the first time you hit a bass boost preset. Now for the practical weaknesses, because no product is flawless. The biggest trade-off is the price. A 13-inch, 4,000-watt sub sits in a higher price bracket than many dual-ohm alternatives that can deliver comparable SPL if you're willing to pair two of them. If you're on a tight budget, you could buy two 10-inch subs for less money and potentially get a fuller soundstage when they're properly rigged. Also, the size of the driver means you need a decently sized enclosure, at least a 2 cubic foot box, to get it singing correctly. Trying to squeeze it into a shallow well or a custom enclosure that's too tight will kill the low-frequency response and could cause overheating. Another point to consider is the requirement for an amp that can handle 1-ohm loads. Not every aftermarket amplifier supports that impedance. If you already own a 2-ohm or 4-ohm amp, you'll either need to buy a new amp or risk damaging your current one by overloading it. That adds an extra cost that some buyers forget when they just focus on the sub's price tag. In my conversations with a few installers, they warned that a lot of newcomers end up buying a sub like this and then scrambling for an appropriate amp, which can inflate the total spend by a few $100s. Who should buy this sub? It's a solid pick for car audio enthusiasts who already have a high-power amp or are planning a complete system upgrade. If you enjoy listening to bass-heavy genres and want that room-shaking feel without having to wire multiple subs together, the single-ohm simplicity is a real convenience.